Hello everyone, I'm Gurveen Sandhu, Assistant Professor in Amritsar Group of Colleges. So today we are going to discuss the topic industrial sickness. Now, industrial sickness is basically those industries, those units which are sick. Now, sick means they are not in a healthy position. There is an illness. Now, illness is due to the reason that they are not able to perform. They are not able to earn profit out of it. So the loans, the debits, they are very much at a rate, higher ratio, and the profit is almost at the 0 point. So these industries which are not able to perform and which are not gaining the profit, so these industries are known as the sick industries or sick units. Now let's go for an introduction part. Industrial sickness is the state of industrial weakness or illness, that is, the company fails to earn a reasonable profit. So it is continuously into a disproportion of the debit equity ratio. So falsification of the financial status of the industrial units. So there a debit equity ratio that is disturbed. Industrial sickness usually refers to a situation where an industrial firm performed poorly, incurred losses for several years, and often default in its debit repayment obligations. So the debits are not being repaid over here. So the loans are increasing, profit is not coming out of it. Automatically, the debit repayment becomes zero and it stops at one position. So neither the loans have been repaid in the past, neither it is being repaid in the present, and neither it will happen in the future. So because of these situations, the industrial sickness occurs. Now, industrial units tend to show a sign of the financial distress, starting with short-term liquidity problem, revenue losses, operating losses, moving in the direction of overuse of the external credit. So credit is being picked upon at a very high rate. Now, sick units, they have been defined in four different ways as per the understanding of four different people. Now, these four different entities may be a layman, an investor, a banker, or an industrialist. So these four entities, they have defined industrial sickness or the sick units in a different terms. So first is to a layman. A sick unit is a one which is not healthy. To an investor, it is the one which is not giving dividends. Repayment is not happening. To a banker, it is a unit which has incurred cash losses in the previous year and is about to repeat the same performance in the current and in the following years. So neither the repayment, the cash losses has happened in the past also, in the present also, and it is going to happen in the future also. And no repayment is going to happen. To an industrialist, it is a unit which is making losses and about to close. So loss is going to happen again and again and again. The loss is happening and it is going to close down. Sick units, they have been defined. The definition has been given by different organizations on the different aspects. So first definition we are going to do as per the Reserve Bank of India. So according to Reserve Bank of India, a sick unit is the one which has occurred the cash loss for 1 year. Minimum 1 year the loss was there and is likely to continue incurring losses in the current year as well as in the following years also. So in the last 1 year there was a loss, one or more there was a loss. Presently also there is a loss, and in the future the same situation will prevail. So Reserve Bank says that these kind of units, they are known as the sick units. Further, Reserve Bank of India defines the unit has an imbalance in the financial structure, such as current ratio is less than 1:1, and there is a worseness trends in the debit equity ratio. So the same trend is going to prevail in the future also. Next definition, according to Companies Act 2002, sick unit companies means an industrial company which has the accumulated losses in any financial year equal to 50% or more of its average net worth during the 4 years immediately preceding such financial years. So 50% of the losses is already there. The financial year equal to 50% of the losses. So this is an accumulated losses which are going to happen for last 4 years. And same will be in the preceding year also, preceding financial year also. Next, or fail to repay its debit within the 3 constructive quarters, and on demand made is writing for its repayment by the creditor or the creditor of such a company. So for the 3 constructive years, for the 3 constructive quarters rather, we will say the repayment has not been done, and it is given by the creditors in writing that the repayment has not been done. So the Companies Act will define these kind of companies as an sick units. Next definition, according to Development Commissioner, a small scale industrial unit SSI becomes sick if its capacity utilization is less than 50% of the higher achieved during the preceding 5 years. So in the preceding 5 years, the capacity utilization was less than the 50%. Net worth has been eroded by more than 50%. So more than 50% is already being eroded, already being utilized, and no profit is coming out of it. The unit has remained closed for a period of more than 6 months. So for more than 6 months, the unit has been closed. So because of all these conditions, we will say a unit as a sick unit. Next, as per the Sick Industrial Companies Act 1985, sick units are identified in terms of the cash losses for 2 constructive financial year and accumulated losses equally or preceding the net worth for the second financial year also. In the last financial year also there was the losses, and the same is going to happen in the preceding second financial year. State Bank of India has defined a sick unit as one which fails to generate an internal surplus on a continuous basis. So internal surplus is not coming, the profit is not coming. So the State Bank of India defines a unit which is not providing the internal profit out of it, and it depends for its survival upon the frequent infusion of the funds. So they are going to use more funds, they are going to use more of the loans, they are going to sell upon the things. So the outflow is more, but the inflow is less. So State Bank of India says that these kind of units, they are known as the sick units. Now, what are the symptoms and the signals for the sickness? Decline in the capacity utilization, shortage of the liquid funds to meet the short-term obligations, inventory in the excessive quantities, more submission of the data to non-submission of the data to the banks or the other financial units. So data is not being given. Funds are used more. Irregularity in maintaining the bank accounts. Frequent breakdown in the plant and the equipment. Decline in the quality of the product manufactured or the service renders. Delay or default in the payment of statutory dues. High attraction rate, continuous tumble in the price of the shares, delay in the audit of the financial accounts, and frequent request to the bank for the loan. So again and again loan is asked, the product quality is deteriorating, the quality is not given in the same form, repayment is not being done, the price of the share that is going down, fine. The units, the plants, there is an immediate breakdown or immediate distraction in the machinery, or immediate pitfalls are there in the company. So because of these different reasons, the industrial sickness is being seen, and these are the common symptoms of the industrial sickness. Now, this is 2015 survey in which they says that the state-wise sick micro units of the India. So that is of India, they have given the state-wise. So if we see the different states over there, so number of the micro and the small enterprise which were there, medium enterprise which were there, and total sick MSMEs. So how many total sick MSMEs are there? So these all are as per the state. So these many were open. These were the medium enterprise, and these are the total sickness, total sick industries which were there over there. So you can have a look. So maximum is going over here in Andhra Pradesh. Further, it is the more it is in the Bihar. So likewise, there are many states who are having a higher number. Maharashtra is having the highest number into this. Next is the nature of sickness. Now there is three different kind of the sickness. One is the genuine sickness, which is happening automatically. It is not in the control of anyone. It may be due to the climate destruction. It may be due to the floods. It may be due to the different policies. So that is the genuine sickness, which is happening on its own. It is not in the control of anyone. Next is the incipient sickness, which is because of the non-viability of the project. The project is not able to produce the things. It's not at all viable to work upon that project. And last is the induced sickness. Induced sickness is which is due to the wrong policy. We have started, we know that it is not going to happen, but then also we are going to work upon it. So that is the induced sickness. So first is the genuine sickness, which is beyond the control of the promoters of the concerned, despite of the sincere efforts. We are putting a sincere effort, but it is not happening. It is out of the control. Then incipient sickness due to the basic non-viability of the project. Induced sickness, which is due to the marginal incompetency and wrong policies produced deliberately for the want of the genuine state. This is man-made sickness in which some, this kind of induced sickness is basically a sickness which is produced by the man itself. So someone wants the competitor produce something, right? Some fraudulent practices are being used. The money is over there. The fraud is happening. Decline of the quality of the product is happening. So these are the things which are being produced by the man only. So that's why it is known as the induced sickness. Further, types of sick industry. There are three types of sick industries. One which is born sick, another who becomes sick, and the last is the made sick. The born sick. Industrial sickness is not necessary and after birth characteristics. It is not after birth. It may be at the time of the birth only. This means that some industrial projects are sick right from their inception and account of the poorly conceived project, wrong idea of the industry. Now, why it is at the time of birth sick? Because of the wrong idea of the industry, wrong choice of the location, inexperienced promoters, long gestures, unproductive capital assist, inadequate market survey, wrong selection of the product. So these are the reasons because of which an industry is known as born sick. Because at the time of the birth of that industry, these things happen. The promoters are not experienced, experienced people are not being used, the product is not good, the viability is not happening, unproductive capital assets are over there. So because of these different reasons, the industries are known as the born sick industries. Next are the become sick. They are the some projects which are not sick by birth, rather they turn out to be sick in their later stages due to the internal cause like the poor management or mismanagement, faulty management policies, deliberate diversion of the funds, etc. Last are the made sick, which are made by the people. So they are the made sick. Some industrial projects are neither sick by birth, nor they turn out to be sick. Rather, sickness is thrust upon them due to the various external causes which are not in the control of the company's management. They are included abrupt change in the policies of the government, change in the trends or the technology. So the changes are happening in the atmosphere. It may be technological changes, it may be the government policy, it may be change in the trend, it may be the change in the taste of the customers. So because of these XYZ reasons, they are known as the made sick. So automatically they are being made sick over there. Now what are the causes of the industrial sickness? Basically, there are two causes, the internal cause and the external cause. We will do the detail further out of this internal and the external cause. But let's see what are the causes. When we talk about the industrial sickness, it is not the cause by the single factor, rather the collective impact of the multiple factors result in the industrial sickness. So we have grouped these multiple factors into the internal cause and the external cause. Now the internal cause. So first internal cause is the technical feasibility, inadequate technical knowledge. So a person is not technically sound. Outdated production process, so latest automatic or latest technology of the production is not being used. Next are the economic viability, high cost of input, break even point too high, unduly large investment in the fixed assets, underestimation of the financial requirements. So these are the things which are happening in the economic viability. Next is the production management, poor capacity utilization, high wastage, inappropriate product mix, inadequate maintenance, and the replacement. So these things are happening at the production maintenance. So poor capacity utilization, higher wastage. So the product mix is not good. So all those kind of things, they come into the production management. Next is the labor management, poor labor productivity. Labor is not producing properly. Excessive manpower is more, but the work is not so much. Lack of trained, skilled labor, so the labor is not at all trained. Next, excessively high wastage of the structure. Marketing management, lack of market research and market feedback, so the market knowledge is not there. Market research has not been done. What is the preference of the customers? What kind of product they require? What technology is happening today? So these things are not being over there. Effective pricing policy, price is not kept properly. Dependence on the limited number of the customers. So they depend upon only the few customers. They are not going to take the whole market together. Financial management, inadequate working capital, and defensive of funds. Deficiencies of the funds. Next is the administrative management, excessive expenditure on research and development. So funds are not being utilized properly. Proper proportion of the funds is not used. On research and development, expenditure is more. On production, expenditure is less. So these kind of problems, they come at the administrative manager. So the money is not being properly utilized. Incompetent management, lack of timely diversifications. Next, so these were the internal causes. Next are the external causes. Infrastructure bottleneck, irregular supply of the critical raw material. So raw material is not provided at timely and in the proper proportion. Transport bottleneck, transportation charges are high. Transportation is not available in some areas. Chronic power shortage. So power is not there. Electricity plants are not nearby. Electricity cuts are more. So the machinery is not working and production is not happening. Next is the government control and policies. Government pricing control, abrupt change in the government policies. Again and again the changes are happening, and that too very strange changes. And physical duties. Next are the market constraints. Market saturation. Market is in a saturation position. So that's why the product are not being properly marketed and properly sold in the market. Revolutionary technology, advanced rendering one's product obstacles. So technology is changing. Next are the features which are happening naturally. So extraordinary factors, that are natural calamities, political situation, sympathetic strikes. So these were the external factors. Now, what is the magnitude of industrial sickness? How, at what rate these industrial sickness is growing? So industrial sickness is growing at an annual rate of about 28% and 13% respectively in terms of number of units and outstanding number of the bank credits. So number of units which are being closed every year, that is 28%, and number of units which has not given the bank credit, who have not done the repayment, they are 13%. So because of these two reasons, the industries are being closed every year, annual rate. It is estimated that as of today, there are more than 2 lakhs of these sick units with an outstanding bank credit of more than 7,000 crore annual. So this is annual. Annually, 7,000 crore is not being repaid, and this ratio is increasing every time. Nearly 29,000 units are added in the sick list every year. So, effect of the industrial sickness: unemployment is there, wastage of resources. So there is a very high at a very high rate the resources are being wasted. Human resources, raw material, machinery, electricity, time. So these things are the ones which are being wasted with every sick unit. Loss economy and the government, loss to the bankers and the financial institutions, and the industrial unrest. So these are the different effects of the industrial security. So banks are facing the problem, government is facing the problem, economy is going down, people are not being satisfied, and with this, the major effect is brain drain. The people are studying over here, the youth is studying over here, but they are moving abroad because the unemployment is increasing. So what measures are to be taken for this industrial sickness, to stop this industrial sickness or to cure this industrial sickness? Suggestions to prevent and cure the industrial sickness. First is the proper project planning. Location of the project, availability of raw material, availability of the labor and the technical staff, availability of financial reasonable rate, finance at the reasonable rate. Next is the proper market analysis, demand forecasting, how the customers are demanding, study of the opportunities and threats of the environment, consumer taste and preferences, availability of reliable distributors. Next are the soft loans for the sick units. So the loans should not be very much strict. They should not be following the same thing. It should not have the strict rules and regulations, but they should have soft loans for sick units. Avoid over capitalization. So more and more capital is not to be invested over there. So there is one board of the industrial and financial reconstruction, that is BIFB. So it was established by central government under the section 3 of SICA. SICA is the Sick Industrial Companies Special Provision Act 1985, and it became fully operational on May 1987. So what this BIFR do? It secures the timely detection of the sick and the potential sick companies, speedy determination by the group experts of the various measures to be taken in respect of the sick companies, and expenditure enforcement of such measures. So they are going to detect which industry is sick, which is to be closed, what proper measures are to be taken, how they need to be detected, and what kind of potential is to be made under this sick companies. So that's all with this. Thank you very much for the patience learning. Thank you.